Hi folks, it's Kelvin here. We run coach for Leeds and surrounding areas as well as online coaching. In this little video, I'm going to talk about workout frequency. And when we say workout, I'm talking about a run that has a little bit of intensity in it, or it's a longer run. And then obviously that's kind of padded out by other runs to get that weekly volume. So it's really common for a whole number of reasons to work on a 7 day cycle. More often than not, that's people's work life, maybe working Monday to Friday with the weekend off. They can do like a longer run or a workout on a weekend, and coaches program in a 7 day cycle. And one of those reasons that actually works from a physiological standpoint as well is we usually need about 2 to 3 days to recover from a slightly harder workout. So I'll use myself as an example. I do a recovery run on a Monday. I do easy with some strides and maybe a little bit of steady running on a Tuesday, depending how I'm feeling. I might just keep that easy with strides. I add some sort of intensity on a Wednesday. I take Thursday as my day off, and then I kind of repeat that. So Friday is super easy, Saturday is easy with strides, and Sunday I do like a longer run or a mid-length run with maybe a little bit of tempo in there. So what I'm trying to do there is make sure that I'm recovered enough to get the best out of my workout on a Wednesday, and then I don't beat my body up so much where I can't complete my longer run or my sort of mid-length run on a Sunday or maybe a Saturday, depending on how that works. And what I wouldn't do is elongate that 7 days if a runner was struggling to recover from those workouts. So say we were programming something for a runner and they were really finding that they came to Sunday's long run and the legs were still feeling a little bit too beaten up from an interval session on a Wednesday, I would adjust the intensity of the Wednesday workout. I wouldn't just go, let's not do the long run on a Sunday, let's do the long run on the Monday or the Tuesday and start to stretch it out. Because that could work for some runners that work shifts, maybe some runners who are retired, who don't really have a 7 day schedule. But the truth is, we really want a slightly stronger stimulus every 2 to 3 days. Hi, I'm just jumping in here. What I meant to say is we're looking for 2 to 3 days rest between each strongest training stimulus, not a stronger stimulus every 2 to 3 days. Just wanting to be clear with that. Let's go again. The other reason I work on a 7 day cycle is the platform that I use to schedule workouts. TrainingPeaks works on 7 day cycles. And I'm just going to show you around that with a quick screen recording to help you understand why I use 7 day cycles and not like 10 or 12 day cycles. So this is my training on TrainingPeaks. There's a lot of other platforms that coaches use to schedule workouts, but I believe they're all fairly similar. Some people might find this quite interesting as just a little standalone section of the video. So that's my training and the things that I've completed. I won't go into that too much, but the things that kind of lend themselves to why I work on 7 day cycles with both myself and the runners are, if I go into my dashboard, everything's by week. So, longest workout, I can kind of easily see trends, adherence on a weekly basis. If that was to stagger over more than a week, it would make it a little bit more difficult to see. Things like distance per week, time in heart rate zones, time in speed zones, all done by week. So it makes it very easy for me to see at a glance what's going on for a runner. And elevation gain. Time in heart rate zones is just for a time period. I've got a 12-month time period up here. I can choose whatever I want or custom dates. Obviously, this wouldn't make a difference how many weeks people were cycling their training in, because it's just time in heart rates over that period of time. But again, this is a really useful tool for me that I can just pull up maybe the last 3 months or the last month or the last 6 months or even 12 months of a runner's time in heart rate zones to make sure that we've got the right intensity distribution to help a runner move towards their goals. And the other thing that's quite interesting as well is fitness history. So this is what we call, this is done on heart rate and training stress score. And I can have my 60-minute, 20-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute, and 5-second power. So it's how much time I've held that heart rate for, as like a maximum in that time period. And you can see if we kind of zoom in a little bit on my 60-minute power, 170 heart rate, 170 heart rate held for 60 minutes. That's only 5 beats below my lactate threshold 2. So they're 2 races, and I can actually click on that, and then I can actually go into the race to see all the workout. 170 was a trail half, so that's just a 13.6. And then I can see really easily, because this is weekly, that this is gradually sort of decreasing from those races, which is what I'm wanting at the moment. So it's even over the last 4 weeks, 78, 79, 64, 63. 20-minute power is decreasing, and that's because I'm going into more of a base building phase where I'm actually looking at easing back on the intensity a little bit and adding in more volume. So the weekly there, it really helps me look for these trends, particularly the below this grey line is monthly and above that is weekly. So that training load over the last 4 weeks is what I'm gonna feel in my legs at the moment. So it's really important for me to have an accurate grasp of that. The other thing is, if we drop back to my calendar, TrainingPeaks and other platforms work out a training stress for each workout. That's based on training zones. So you do have to have your training zones set correctly to a certain degree, but maybe not something I'm going to go into now. But if we look at my training zones, I know that these are set correctly, and my threshold heart rate, which is my LT2, lactate threshold 2, is also set correctly. So what that does is, when I go into a workout, when I build a workout for myself or a runner, so 1 mile easy, 5 mile tempo, which is zone 3, 1 mile easy, it allocates a percentage of threshold heart rate. So zone 2 is a certain percentage of threshold heart rate, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, etc. And then it gives me a training stress score, which is here, TSS, and I've got mine set on heart rate training stress score. You can set it on pace, maybe for those that run on flatter surfaces, or maybe those that don't have a chest strap or an optical armband. So that workout, it actually gave me a planned workout of 65 as a training stress score. And then when I did the workout, it gave me 61, which is very, very accurate. So each workout that I do, it gives me an accurate training stress score. And what's really interesting is it then gives me that weekly, so that I can work out if I'm trying to increase training load over a period of time. I can look at the training stress score, there of 292, and then the next week I've got 409, and then the next week I've got 443. And I'm trying to accumulate load through those weeks in that training block. So it's just another tool that I can use to see if I'm actually doing more time or more time at intensity. And the algorithm to work that out is really, really accurate, because it is just using my actual data. And I'm not going to go into this right now, but we can even use this as a tool for those that don't even use a Garmin watch. So if someone's still using a Timex watch, we can still use TrainingPeaks, because all of those metrics can be actually inputted in manually. So I'm going to stop that for now. There's quite a lot there. And please, I'd love some questions on TrainingPeaks or that frequency of workout. So I hope that all makes some sort of sense, and I know there's quite a lot in there. So if you've got any questions, please pop them down in the comments below. And for now, happy running.